Hi, and welcome to this live reading from Amaleigha and the Big Idea by Jan Pratt. And this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Amaleigha was a thoughtful 5-year-old. Many said that she had an old soul and felt the world a bit differently than most. Just the other day, while her mom was on the phone with her grandma, her mom said, "I've noticed that Amaleigha seems to see the world a bit differently than most 5-year-olds. She is very focused." Her mom was a teacher and knew how important it was to have focus. "She looks deeply into her world and notices more than most, just like a scientist," said her dad proudly, for he was a researcher and loved to study and solve problems. "She is a bit weird," said her older brother, who only wanted to hang out with his friends and do the things he felt guys should do. Her grandma said in a soft, gentle voice, "She is going to do great things. You just wait and see." Her favorite place to spend her time was in the out of doors. She loved to run with bare feet through the dewy grass early in the morning. She would hold her arms out to the side and feel the air just like the birds as she raced around the yard, all the while enjoying the coolness of the dew, the softness of the grass on her feet, and the freshness of the morning air. She loved to watch the tiny insects crawl through the tall weeds at the edge of her yard. Often she thought that they were busy building superbug highways from here to all of the places they needed to go. She made up wonderful stories about their little bug families in the little bug towns. She loved to lay on her back under the trees in the woods behind her house and watch the birds flit from branch to branch and tree to tree. She would often make up stories about adventures they were having as they went from place to place and as they soared high in the sky. When she wasn't studying the world she loved so much, she was creating with all the things nature provided for her. She made playhouses out of sticks. She built statues out of rocks. She made paths that led to and from her favorite destinations. She also watched how time changed each of her favorite places. In the summer, she saw the forest grow thick and full, and the animals seemed to be more content to move slowly from place to place, nibbling the grass or singing in the trees as if they had all the time in the world. In the fall, she noticed the business of the animals as they rushed from here to there as if they were running out of time. The leaves turned bright, beautiful colors, and the sun didn't feel as warm. In the winter, she noticed the quiet. The animals slept. The leaves were brown and crunchy, and the sky was often cloudy or gray. In the spring, she noticed all that was new. New plants and flowers grow on the floor of the world, and trees and plants growing new leaves. She noticed the animals slowly creeping out as if they were just waking up. And she loved it all. Her mom would say, "Amaleigha, put on your coat. It's getting cold. And don't forget your socks and shoes." But she didn't listen. Her dad would say, "Amaleigha, it's getting dark. It's time to come in." But Amaleigha would plead for just a few more minutes. Her grandma would say, "Amaleigha has great plans, so we just need to give her some space. She's going to do great things. You just wait and see." Amaleigha would give her grandma a big hug whenever they were together because somehow she knew her grandma understood her the best. And her brother would just shake his head and say, "That's one crazy kid." Amaleigha would think right back, "That is one crazy kid too." Well, on a clear summer day, as Amaleigha watched her nature friends, she had an idea. At first, it felt like a feeling, and as the feeling grew, it began to take the shape of an idea and then a plan. The feeling was warm and pleasant. The idea was bright as a star, and the plan just felt right. She wanted to share what she loved with the people of the world so that they too could love what she loved so much. "Mom, Dad, I have an amazing idea." Amaleigha rushed in to share. I want to make a place for people to come and enjoy all the places that I love so much, but I might need some help." So they called Grandma and called Brother Al, and they all gathered around the kitchen table and listened to Amaleigha's most amazing idea. She sketched and explained and drew and dreamed, and when it was done, her family was astounded. "Amaleigha, I can't believe you thought of that," said her mom as she shook her head back and forth because she knew that Amaleigh's focus had paid off. "You are a chip off the old block," said her dad with a sparkle in his eye. "I told you she'd do great things," said her grandma with pride in her voice. Well, I guess it's not a too bad idea, said Al with a shrug of his shoulders. And so they began. They got permission from the city to use the woods behind their house. They got the materials they needed and tried to use as much from the woods as possible. A true gift of nature is what Amaleigh wanted it to be. They raked and dug and collected and moved. They sang and laughed. Soon people in their town began to notice. What are the Johnsons doing in the woods? People started to ask. Do you think it is something we can help with? It looks like fun. Before you knew it, the whole town was involved. They joined in the building and the laughing and the dreaming, and before the season could change, Amaleigha's dream had become a reality. On opening day, the mayor stood before the gathered crowd with Amaleigh by his side. We are pleased to be here to share this exceptional, amazing, and creative barefoot park with the people of Nassau Town. Because of the dream of this lovely little lady, we will have a place to gather and play and learn about nature. Amaleigh, would you like to say a few words? Amaleigh stood up straight and tall. She let her eyes meet the eyes of all the people of her town, her teacher, Miss Bright, the storekeeper, Mr. Bison, and the librarian, Ms. Tezier, her playmates, Jessie and John and Caitlin and Matthew. She let her eyes meet the eyes of her mom and dad and brother Al and, of course, her grandma. She let her eyes meet the eyes of people she had yet to meet. Then, with her best 5-year-old adult-sounding voice, she said, "You are here in my special place. I love this place with all my heart and want to share it with you. Together, we can keep this place safe and loved. Together, we can care for this place. Take off your shoes and let's play." And with that, the mayor cut the beautiful red silk ribbon that was draped between Amaleigh's 2 favorite trees, and children, adults, and neighbors and townsfolk all started to walk or run or wander through the town's brand new barefoot park. There was soft sand to play in. There were places to climb high and places to crawl low. There was mud to splash in and water to rinse off in. And at the end of the walk, there was a place to lie in the grass and look at the trees and the sky high above. A place to rest and be still. In the rush of the newness of the park, Amaleigh was all but forgotten for a while as everyone played and laughed and explored this wonderful place. But to her, this felt just as it should be. She felt the joy of this special place in her heart, and her heart knew that she had made a difference in the world.